All right. If you want to, you can go for a 4 or a 5 with weather forecasting by doing this project on hurricane tracking. So you'll use the WeatherBug Achieve site, and you'll go to Tools, and then you'll find Storm Central. And this is what it looks like. Now, pretty well, let's see. You're going to need this to open up this. What was that called? It was called Interactive Storm Tracker. So that's the main thing that you'll be using with your computer. You'll also need the packet, just 2 pages of a packet. One page looks like this, and the other page looks like, let's see if I can find it, Western Atlantic, looks like this. Okay, and I'll just show you from my computer, but you'll have these documents, actual pieces of paper that you'll turn in. So you'll turn in this document here, and you'll turn in this document here. Okay, and to complete those documents, you'll be using this right here. Okay, all right, so let's look at the directions. First off, put your name on it, and then it says complete this project for a 4 or 5 in weather forecasting. Follow the directions below and watch the video for assistance. It's just one video. All right, the first thing you do is select which storm you want to use. So these are the 8 biggest hurricanes of the last 10 years. And you can highlight whichever one you're going to track. So in '04 and '05, there was a lot of really big hurricanes. Charlie, Ivan, Katrina, which you've probably heard of, and then Rita and Wilma, too. Rita and Wilma I think, were just shortly after Katrina, and they were like huge hurricanes as well. And then Ike in 2008, Irene in 2011, and then in 2012, Sandy, which was a huge, huge storm that hit the upper East Coast. So pick whatever hurricane you want to do this project on. That'll be your first step, and just highlight it. Okay, so I'm going to take a look at, I'll take a look at Katrina in 2005. I'll pretend that I'm doing that one. So you'll take from this document. Now you need to find the storm you're looking for. So I was going to do Katrina. So 2005, and there's Katrina right there. And you can see here's a map. I'm going to hit clear all. Here's a map of the western Atlantic Ocean. So here's Florida and the east coast of the United States, and here's the Gulf of Mexico, and then these Caribbean islands all in here. So let's see where Katrina goes. So I've selected 2005, I selected Katrina, now I'm going to hit track. And there it goes, creeping across the Gulf of Mexico until it runs into Louisiana. All right, so you can see all these dots so close together, and each one of these dots is another little piece of information about the hurricane. Okay, and the storm started over here, and then it ran into Florida, and then came across Florida into the Gulf of Mexico, curled around and built up steam in the Gulf of Mexico, and then it hit Louisiana right there, and into Alabama or Mississippi right there. Is that Alabama or Mississippi? I think it's Mississippi. And then just the remnants of the storm came shooting up through the United States. And I remember after Katrina, we had rain and all kinds of weather a couple days after Katrina. All right, so now what are the questions? Or the other thing I want to point out over here, you've got the map legend. So the yellow dots mean it's a tropical depression, which is not really a hurricane yet. It's just the beginnings of a hurricane. And then when it gets into that green color, then it's a subtropical storm or a subtropical depression. Okay, the wind is only 45 miles per hour. So it's just 35 miles per hour winds, and here in yellow, when it's green, it's 40 mile per hour winds. So it's pretty strong, but it's not yet a hurricane. And then right here, when it turns pink, this is now a hurricane. Its winds are 75 miles per hour. If you notice, pink is a hurricane, stage 1 hurricane. So when it hit Florida, it was just a stage 1 hurricane, which is pretty big, but not, awful. came across Florida, and then it turned back into a green tropical storm. So not quite a hurricane anymore. But then it started to build up strength again, and it became a hurricane, level 1 hurricane, and then a level 2 hurricane, 100-mile-per-hour winds, and then a level 3 hurricane, 115-mile-per-hour winds. Kept building up. Level 3 hurricane in there, and then it became a level 5, stage 5 hurricane all through here with 161-mile-per-hour winds. Unbelievable. And then it started to cool down a little bit, 155-mile-per-hour winds. Now, do you guys see where I'm looking at for the 150-mile-per-hour wind or the 161-mile-per-hour wind? Okay, and it kept creeping up, 135, 127. It hit land, and it was about 145-mile-per-hour winds when it hit land. And just caused all kinds of damage and flooding. Once it hit land, it started settling down, but still 94-mile-per-hour winds all the way up into here, 75-mile-per-hour winds. Then it turns back into a tropical storm, and then it turns into a tropical depression right here, 35-mile-per-hour winds, and it continues 35-mile-per-hour winds all the way up here to New York, Buffalo, New York, up here. Okay, so that's the story for Katrina. Now, if we look back over here on this document, what you'll have to do is use your colored pencils or markers to track the storm on your chart. So on this chart, you're going to have to use your yellows and your greens and your pinks and your reds to track the storm going across Florida, curves into the Gulf of Mexico, and runs into New Orleans. Okay? Now, if you look on this chart, you've got the degrees, latitudes, and longitudes. So this is 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 20, 21, 22 over here. And those are the longitudes. And then down here is the latitude. So it's going, 80, 85, 90, 95. I think I did that wrong. I think these are the latitudes. Yeah, these are latitude, and this is longitude. Sorry about that. So you'll have to use those latitude and longitudes, and you can kind of compare it to here. So this one starts at about, Hurricane Katrina starts at what, about 75 latitude, or 75 longitude, and latitude is maybe about 24, 23. So you'd say 23 latitude, 75 or 76 longitude. Okay? And I believe that's the first question. Where did the storm start? And this latitude and longitude. All right, so for this document, you're charting in the different colors. You're charting the storm. And again, you have to be careful to use the latitude and longitude, the grid, to help you pinpoint exactly where those marks go. So you'll have to compare this to this to get the latitude and longitude dots just in the right spot. And make sure you have the right colors too. Okay. Other questions on the worksheet. Where did the storm start? So it's latitude and longitude. Oops, that's supposed to say latitude and longitude, not longitude. Latitude and longitude. When did the storm start? So it's date and time. And if you look over here, if you click on this one, there's its name, the time and date, 9 p.m. on August 23rd, 8:23. Okay? And then other questions. When did the storm become a hurricane? So if I look at this, it became a hurricane when it turned pink. So that was right in here. That's its first pink. Okay? When was the hurricane its most intense? And date and time. So I'd have to look, what's the most intense color? That hurricane level 5. So right in here, when did it become a level 5? So that's 144, 161. So that's level 5, and that was 12 p.m. on August 28th. Okay, and it's level 5. That's its status. It's stage 5 hurricane. When did the hurricane hit land? So it's date and time and status for that too. So it hit land right in here. So that was 11 a.m., 8:29, and its status looks like level 4 hurricane. Okay. All right. So to get a 4, you'll have to answer all these questions 1 through 7 and do the graph. And then for a 5, you have to write a paragraph. It says write a paragraph, at least 4 sentences, about any trends that you notice with the storm. What trends do you notice? So you could talk about how it gradually builds up speed. You could talk about how the storm only has one little part where it seems to slow down right in there, but the rest of it, it's building speed the whole time. You can talk about directions it's going. So it starts off, it's going northwest, but then it curls back and goes southwest for a little bit, and then curls back and goes north again. So you can talk about some of those things in your paragraph, but you want to kind of describe the storm and any trends that you notice. We've been talking a lot about trends. All right, so a long video here with all the directions, but I thought I'd make it into a video rather than stand in front of class and give you everything. But good luck. I think it's a very achievable 4, and a very achievable 5 really too. So it's definitely a project where a lot of people can get a 4 and a 5. All right, good luck.